Hi, welcome to my podcast, Help Me Rhonda. I'm your host, Dr. Rhonda Karg. I'm a clinical psychologist, and each episode of this podcast, I share mental health related information with you in hopes that you'll gain insight into some of your own behavior and you'll also maybe learn new skills that will help improve your mental health. So, thanks for tuning in today. I appreciate the support. Today, I would like to talk about how important it is for us to establish and maintain social connections with people. And this comes from the research literature that shows that when we are not being stimulated by interactions with other people, if we have a genetic predisposition with Alzheimer's disease, we may have a more steady decline than people that have more social interactions with other people. And the neuroscientists have demonstrated that the synapses in the brain actually, when you don't use them, it's the whole, if you don't use it, you lose it. They lose that connection. And before long, the person might be really having a hard time remembering things, reports feeling like they're in a fog, reports difficulty remembering things. And these are some of the symptoms that I'm hearing people report on. It's hard to say. For some people, it might be related to long COVID. For a lot of people, though, it's really just a big part of it is just a function of COVID and not getting out and interacting with people as much, and you kind of get out of the habit. So you feel kind of awkward. I mean, I'll never forget the first time I went out to eat after COVID started. It was a long, long time. I want to say it was a year and a half. It was a really long time before I went out to eat somewhere. And I finally went, and it was so intense. Like the traffic, all the people. It felt like I needed to just become integrated into my environment a little bit more. It just felt like such a shock to my system. And a lot of people felt like that coming out of COVID, and some people have just remained in this safe space that they've created where they don't leave. They just have people come to them because it's so scary. And for individuals that have a tendency to be agoraphobic before, meaning that they tend to feel very unsafe leaving home, so they tend to stay home for fear that they'll be out somewhere and they'll need help and they won't be able to get help. And that's usually the train of thought that goes along with agoraphobia. It's related to not being able to get the help that they need in case of an emergency. But regardless, people who have a tendency to be agoraphobic in the past may have really seen their agoraphobia take off in the context of COVID. And so whether it's you feeling like you have a long case of COVID, or if it's just really kind of strictly because you're not interacting with people, your brain isn't being stimulated the same way. And it really does. I mean, your brain will atrophy. Those neural pathways will die if you don't use them. And it can make you feel really weird, not just around other people, but just even the thought of being around people can make you feel weird when you're not used to it. So remember, what I always say is that sometimes the instinct that we have, for example, to isolate means that we should really do the exact opposite of that. Remember, opposite to emotion action, right? So that you end up getting out to spend time with people, let's say once a week. Maybe that's a boundary you want to make with yourself, is that you get out and spend time with friends at least once a week or at least twice a month or whatever you feel comfortable with. But getting out there and getting more regular contact with people that are important to you, whatever that might look like. And as I've said in some of my other videos, even if you can't spend the entire afternoon with these people, at least you could spend a couple hours with them. That would be cool. Maybe you can just hit them up and see what they're up to, and then you can just go hang out with them. If you're like me, I like to be spontaneous and do things in that way. So you could always do that if that's something that you feel comfortable with. But the point is that we are designed to be in a village. They call it the village effect. That was a book that was written several years ago that talks about this. It's in our DNA to have connections with other people. And if we don't have them, especially if it's important to us, we can start having problems functioning. And that's just, like I said, this book called The Village Effect talks about it. It's in our DNA to be around people, and if we're not, we're going to, our mental health is going to suffer as a result of that. And in this case, also just cognitive functioning is going to suffer if you don't have enough interactions with other people. So you could check out that literature, but I think it's really fascinating. The good news is that if you do the opposite of what you want to do, if your tendency is to want to isolate, you want to try to do the opposite to that emotion. You want to seek out opportunities to hang out with people if you really want to isolate. That's one of the best things that you can do for yourself. And you'd be surprised just how much it helps to just stop by and see one of your friends that you haven't seen in a while. Hang out with them for a few minutes. Catch up, see what's going on. Maybe tell some funny stories, have a couple laughs, enjoy yourself with the person, but make those connections with people if that's something that is important to you. And like I said, it is important for the vast majority of us. So try to get out and get around people, even if you don't know anyone in the town where you live. Go to the internet cafe, go to the coffee shop where they have internet, and you can go hang out and maybe do work in there and maybe chat it up with some people that hang out. I mean, we have lots of really cool places in Asheville that you can just do that, and anywhere that you go, you're going to meet really cool people. So even if you don't have any folks in town that you know, it's easy enough to meet people in this town. So I would encourage you to do that. But try to get outside of yourself and try to make those connections. It'll make you feel more grounded. It'll make you feel more supported in your efforts to be surrounded by your people, your tribe, the people that lift you up, the people that encourage you, not the people that are in competition with you, not the people that make you feel bad, that are unreliable, that are inconsistent, that don't treat you right. Those days are over. No more of that, okay? No more of that. This is all about choosing the people that are lined up with where you're going and what you're doing in your life, and seeking those people out for yourself so that you can connect with them, because it is such an important part for so many of us to have that unity, and those friendships and those relationships can be so incredibly rewarding. And so reach out to people you haven't talked to in a while, see what they're up to. I've been reconnecting with quite a few people recently, and it's been wonderful. It's been really amazing because I've missed them, and now they're in my life again, and it's awesome. So anyway, I hope that you heard something that was helpful today. Thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate your support, and I will look forward to seeing you again next time. Thank you.